CottonFlat Spotlight, Episode 1, featuring Damian Roberts. How's it going, everybody? Nick here from CottonFlat Records. We're here to start a new series. I just started a YouTube channel for CottonFlat Records to kick off for this year. And we're going to do a new interview series called SpotLight CottonFlat, or CottonFlat Spotlight. Haven't decided yet. Anyway, for our first interview ever in CottonFlat Records, we'd like to welcome Mr. Damian Roberts.
Hello.
Here on my right. And Damian actually is a good friend of ours, and he's also part of the CottonFlat Records family. If you've ever been to any of the shows here, I'm sure you recognize this face. He's just an all-around great guy, helps with the events, runs the bar, and great conversation, musical gear conversation, current events, comedy, just all kinds of stuff. But anyway, welcome, Damian.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So let's see here. First of all, Happy New Year, everybody. I met Damian through actually Dominic from 95X. He's one of the long-standing DJs over at 95X, and he's one of our two main in-house promoters for the shows. And man, these guys have great stock, really good family here. So we're lucky to have both of them here as part of the CottonFlat family. So tell us just a little bit what you do when you're here. What exactly do you do here?
Well, predominantly I serve the beers. I rotate the music up front, and whenever I'm here at the show. And so if you're out here lounging at the bar, you'll hear some of my playlists and things like that. I keep people company and talk to them about, if it's comedy night, we talk about comedy. If there's music going on, we talk about various bands and things like that.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Now, the reason why I picked Damian, he was an obvious choice to be our first interviewer, because he is one of the most recognizable faces up here at CottonFlat. And he's also a man of many talents and a man of many creative pursuits. And we'd like to kind of dig into his brain about some of the projects that he's been doing as of late. And I think first off, I'd like to maybe ask you a little bit about your DJ work. So this guy over here is a DJ, DJ for hire. He's also done DJ for many of our events here. As far as I know, has a vast record collection with an eclectic choice of titles. And anyway, just give us a little taste about your DJ aspects.
Okay. Well, it started, I remember picking up a few records here and there back when I was just out of high school, maybe some Cure albums, and I thought, man, there's so many Cure albums, I'll never get them all. And eventually I moved to Austin with maybe about 10 records in my collection, some Tool, Cure, maybe a one-off thing here or there. I can't even remember the first 10, Once I moved to Austin, I can kind of remember every time I went to the store and picked up a different one. And it's funny how those memories stick with you. You're like, oh, I was with so-and-so, it was a hot day, or it was a day off, and I rode my bike to Waterloo and got a sandwich, chopped beef sandwich or something. And eventually your collection grows and amasses, and somebody tells you, hey man, you ever thought about DJing? It's like, no, I've produced music since I was 15. I've been a guitar player since I was probably my 15th year, or maybe 16. I got my first guitar. Worked with music production programs that we cracked and stole online and stuff like that. The original Sonic Foundry Acid Pro, and learned how to cut my teeth like that. So other producers and DJs said, hey, grab another turntable, preferably direct drive, not belt drive, and we'll teach you how to do your thing. So your record collection grows, you start to take your productions to the turntables. That was the initial goal, was get your songs played. And the best way to do that is slip it into other artists that sound like you. Play a set, slip one in, and people are like, who's that? And that was the plan, and from there it kind of got out of hand. More and more records started appearing on the shelf, and with these projects, when you pick up the guitar, you start to learn how to work on your own guitar. You pick up your first soldering iron, and you put it aside because it's a mess, and it works, but it's a mess, and you're not proud of your work, but at least the sound comes through. So yeah, like DJ wise, you start to learn how to fix your own turntables, your speakers, and these skills start to move to other areas. One of my biggest DJing inspirations is King Tubby from Jamaica, one of the first dub artists. He taught his protege, an artist that goes by the name Scientist. You've probably heard those reggae songs on Grand Theft Auto or something. He's on there all the time. These guys would make their own amps. They would make their own delays, their own DJ effects, their own sound systems. And my inspiration has always come from the sound system culture in Jamaica moving on to New York at the birth of hip-hop with Kool Herc. A lot of Wu-Tang choruses and hooks and melodies come from Kool Herc. You'll hear the Let Me Clear My Throat and all these songs, and it's never the first time it's done. It's always another iteration. So with DJing, you start to learn where the music travels from and where cultures come from. When we talk about jazz, blues, hip-hop, reggae, dubstep, all of these come from a former generation being uprooted, taken to another area with their local instruments and songs, teaching others, and that's where we got, like, the banjo comes from African instruments, and these tunings of our guitars come from hundreds of years of movement and sharing of music. And that's what the DJ does, is they find diamonds in the rough and bring that to people's attention, whereas the radio stations just kind of play the same playlist every day, and it's the top 200, and that minimizes and commodifies music, is what I believe. And I could go on for this for days.
I would agree with that assertion. 1 second.
Yeah, so I feel like music has become a bit commodified. It's no longer people collecting or exploring or doing their homework, and instead it's kind of force-fed down our throats. The same with TV shows, movies, comedy, books. It's just word of mouth of what's on the shelf at the time. And people really don't dig deep, and that's a little bit frustrating to hear the same remixes, to hear DJs neglect their civic duty and finding songs that aren't just going to be hype, because then you end up sounding the same. Midland suffers from a lot of DJs playing the same thing, where Austin, you could go any night of the week to any other bar and find a guy playing 45s of soul, all reggae night, or bossa nova, and here in Midland it's just whatever's on B93 or what have you, and it's kind of disgusting, unfortunately. We can do better. I think we can do a lot better.
It's limiting for sure, and that's why me, just as a listener out there, I really appreciate what you do, because it's off the beaten path. It's unusual things, stuff that you would have never known about possibly prior. And to me, that keeps things fresh and interesting. So
Yeah, it's interesting at these raves. I'll hear a DJ drop a song that I know where they got it, they got the vocals from or something, and the song doesn't sound any better than the original version. So you might as well have just done the original one, or something like that. Like there's no accounting for taste, I think. And when you notice the way music progresses, whether it be Jamaican reggae immigrants going to England and their offspring getting to the jungle drum and bass in the 90s, and the offspring of that generation came the dubstep and grime and UKG, which are offshoots of house. And it's really neat to hear the expansion of music and where it progresses to.
yeah, each little progression out of each one, there's a style that kind of offshoots there, and then it progresses into something more, and then it offshoots. Yeah, there's all kinds of different layers of the onion, if you will.
Yeah, if you follow house music at all, it's very interesting how it ties into industrial music in Berlin, and how just these equipment, like the 808 being a studio piece of equipment for a time, and out of the hands of the people, to being an outdated piece of gear and being in pawn shop shelves during the 80s. And these kids start making happy hardcore in Detroit and Chicago, and that going from a disco kind of route, and going off to Europe and becoming other versions of stuff, to the point where we get this heavy hardcore house stuff like Gabber and things, which I don't really like, but it's interesting to hear this 4/4 stuff, or breakbeats, which I prefer, is the chopped and sampled stuff, things where you cut a loop and splice it around, and the innovations that come from that, where we can take sound is pretty fascinating.
Awesome. So how long have you actually been doing DJ work again? You probably mentioned it before, but
I'd say around since 2009, 2010 is when I really got into learning how to mix. And coming from a guitar background, it was easy to EQ songs and cut the bass from one song and just use the tops from the other, and learning how to do that. And when you're already pretty rhythmic, cutting back and forth between two vinyl is kind of, it starts to become second nature when you can start to feel where the song starts through the needle.
Nice.
And you feel this, you can hear it too, and you don't even need the headphones at times. But
so you're kind of transposing your initial recording skills, where you would record just your band type stuff, and just kind of transposing that into breaking down different DJ type recordings that you like to make. Cool.
And eventually I moved in with a cat, and this guy was into 70s music, Grateful Dead, the Meters, all sorts of bands, Aaron Neville and the Neville Brothers, and you start to hear where those samples come from, hip hop samples. You start to get it, and then the Amen beat, and you go, oh, that's what the jungle drum and bass thing, or Blowfly. You hear all these different beats in this B section, and that's where that hip hop came from, is that B section, that breakdown. And it would just be 8 bars of stripped back music, and then you get 2 copies of that, and you can infinitely just loop it over and over. And so that's where these genres come from. That sampling used to be looked down on, but if you look at hip hop from its inception to about the year 1995, 94, 95, when copyright laws became enacted, the hip hop changed. That's where you get Dr. Dre's The Chronic and all these other groups, they used to sample Parliament Funkadelic on the West Coast. They used to sample these jazz beats on the East Coast in New York.
Yeah.
And then 94, 95 hits, the laws take that away, and you have to pay tons of money just to use that sample. So now you go into the studio and you make your hip-hop albums by playing that sample yourself, but a little bit differently. And now you get away with...
Kind of circumvent the...
Yeah,
paying the royalty type deal.
So there's these loopholes that people started doing, but it changed the way the sound was. It's not as raw and gritty as that Wu-Tang album, the 36 Chambers, having so many samples on it. And people still will pay the royalty, so you will still hear the samples, but it's just different now.
Yeah.
So it's really strange.
Interesting. Do you have maybe a little selection of things that you have been spinning as of late, or?
Yes. On the shelf right now, here in CottonFlat, whenever I buy records, I buy 2 or 3 copies because I'm getting these from England, and if I'm gonna buy it, somebody else might want it, right? So what you end up doing is you get 2 or 3 and you leave a few sealed on the shelf for 5-10 years, and all of a sudden they become rarities because they were already limited pressings. So for instance, I have group G36. It's Kevin Martin from The Bug, Justin Broderick from Napalm Death,
Wow.
and the sound man of The Bug. And the 3 of them make some pretty cool, grimy dub reggae stuff that's almost industrial. It's very, very interesting stuff. So I've always liked antagonistic music that kind of pushes people, possibly even away. But it's very cool stuff because it goes hand in hand with digital reggae, digital dub, and grime. I've got one from Jay Kenzo and Ryder Shafiq here that is my most recent purchase. These team-ups between vocal artists and producers are very legendary. You'll get a few runs from each, maybe 2 or 3 songs when they team up, and I particularly like that. In a similar fashion, I have 2 producers, Sleeper and Youngsta, playing tunes, and when these team-ups happen, they tend to become kind of rare. Got a test pressing of a Flodan and Jay Kenzo track. Flodan just recently did a Skrillex tune. I've never really been a fan of Skrillex, but
Very well known.
yeah, you see what they end up doing, and it's pretty interesting. You got some resurgences of jungle drum and bass. I got another Jay Kenzo here. Him being a dubstep guy, trying his hand at jungle, coming back. So it's nice that the 95, 96 vibes are still present here in 2025, or I guess when that came out it was probably 2015 or something. So. Got another one by Code 9 and Burial, 2 legendary dubstep names.
It's a pretty scary album cover there.
Yeah, right? This one's a 4-record live. I mean, you can't hear audience or nothing, but it's from the Fabric Live set that they played together. So it's a various artist compilation. This is a really good one if you want a little bit of everything in the club scene right now. Lots of Chicago juke footwork, or jungle drum and bass and things like that. So you can find this one on the shelf too. Some of these are pretty pricey, so for any of these pricey ones, if you choose to buy it, I've got some regular drum and bass and jungle on there as well. So if you want to buy one of these new ones that are kind of outside your price range, go ahead and grab some of the jungle ones there too that are marked with yellow, and you can take those home for free with you. I'm just trying to get some of these out there into your hands and broaden people's tastes.
Nice. Very cool. Thanks for sharing those.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. I guess I kind of want to move into the area of you as a traditional musician, that aspect of you. I know you're a guitar player, and you do various home recordings, done demos, you've been in bands. give us a little bit of a history as far as you as a non-DJ musician.
Okay, yeah.
Musician, yeah.
I remember when I was real young, my dad put on Bleed Through from the AM station. Two channels were kind of clashing, and it was real staticky. And I didn't know what aliens or ghosts were then, but it gave off that vibe of something spooky.
Love it.
And that weird little sound, I guess, has always influenced stuff. So I remember years later hanging out with my older cousin, and he shows us Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire. And I was like, how are they getting these sounds out of a guitar? And he's like, I don't know, dude, I don't play guitar. And so that was kind of like, the kick into the deep end of, well, I got to get a guitar now and figure out how these sounds are made. And I remember borrowing guitars and learning to change strings and stuff, and early on butchering Tool songs and learning Rage songs.
How old were you when you started playing
Probably
guitar?
At the end of 15, maybe
15.
Start of 16. From my recollection, I can't quite remember.
So the album that kind of propelled you to do that was Evil Empire, huh?
Evil Empire, Tool's Anima.
Second Rage album.
Yeah,
Nice.
I love Tool's Anima.
Yeah.
Then I got really into heavy music really fast. Kind of found Slayer to be very Disney. I found Pantera to just not quite do it. I got into Cannibal Corpse and Brutal Truth and Grindcore, and from then all bets were off. The more extreme, the better, and I liked that. I found metal to be kind of pop at a certain point, especially now. Like, keep your harmonies out of my metal,
Yeah.
I want
Even the heavy stuff is very, very bubblegummy in a way.
It's strange, and punk rock did that too. You know, you got the pop punk, and it just doesn't feel punk to me. It feels NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Right.
And I'm not gonna name names of bands, but they just feel like that. And it's like, okay, go make your pop album, man. But I'll make my.
I can name names, but I won't.
And of course, a lot of my music sounds like a fork in a blender, so I get it. People don't want to hear that all the time. So that's what a DJ comes in, is to know when to play that and when not to play that.
Right.
Some of my favorite stuff I won't share with others because there's no commercial appeal, to use Zappa's term.
Right. I understand that. I definitely have some tastes that are far more better as a personal thing than having an audience for it.
I was doing a Trout Mask replica yesterday.
Oh yeah,
it's just
brilliant album. But yeah, exactly. Well, since we're on the subject of albums and stuff, I usually only ask for 5, but I think I'm going to start asking for 10, and I'm going to split it up like this. Now, usually I ask every musician that I ever meet, what are your 5 all-time favorite bands? But I'm going to caveat that with, I also want to know 5 bands that are currently influencing you. So those could actually cross over and be the same bands, or they could be 10 totally different things. But anyway, start with your 5 all-time favorite bands, maybe biggest influences, bands that you still listen to. It's difficult because you only get 5 there, but then that's why I kind of added the caveat of 5 bands that are currently influencing you.
Yeah, at least it's not 3. Top 3 is even.
Yeah, no, can't do it.
Yeah, I would say Tool was my favorite band for a really long time. Can't say much about their last few albums. They kind of fell into a complacent groove.
It happens.
I remember hearing an interview with Maynard talking about his top 5 most influential albums. That broadened my horizon quite a bit. That's where I learned about Joni Mitchell's Hejira album. That's where I learned about King Crimson's Red Nightmare album, Peter Gabriel, Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. But one band that stood out on that top 5 was the Swans. And I didn't like it at first. I was like, this is really depressing, really brutal and minimalist. One day I was feeling particularly down in the dumps, probably after a girlfriend broke up with me or cheated or something. And I'm walking to my room and this interview's on, the Swans is on, and I was like, whoa, that's how I feel. And
Wow.
ever since then, the Swans have been my favorite band.
So there's one.
Yeah, there's one. I would say the Mothers, Frank Zappa and the Mothers is another
Actually,
one.
maybe that's 3, right? Is Tool considered one of those, or?
Not anymore.
Okay,
Maybe
fair enough.
maybe in the other category.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, in the still influential.
Okay.
But as far as favorites, the older you get, at 41 now, I tend to pick the same things all the other people like me end up picking when they pick Swans as their first. And you'll end up hearing, something like Aphex Twin or some weird German industrial band or Can or Kraftwerk. But no, I would have to say Zappa and the Mothers. Mahavishnu Orchestra, John McLaughlin is probably 2 or 3. I couldn't pick Zappa over John McLaughlin. They've both had amazing musicians come through their ranks, whether it's Billy Cobham, all these guys that jammed with Miles Davis, jammed with Santana, Jean-Luc Ponty's been in both. So it's really neat how good musicians migrate from good act to good act.
So we've got
Swans, Zappa, John McLaughlin. Oh, now I got 2 more. I could have done.
You got 2
I
more.
could have done a 3. I guess now, picking 2 more is even tough now. I guess I'll throw Tool and Rage on there as well, just because I have to. Oh, then I'm forgetting punk rock altogether. Oh shoot, forgetting jazz. There's so many musicians you could pick from. Propaganda's always been a favorite punk rock band of mine, and when I see somebody who isn't just a Black Flag fan or a Misfits fan, and they go, oh, you listen to Propaganda? It's like, yeah, what's up. I find those people to be relatable, very anti-authoritarian, and that's kind of a push we need, is people to be thinking for themselves and to act like leaders and try to get communities to band together through music.
Take full responsibility and then help others.
Yeah, and when a music may feel a little wordy or preachy, but when you're right, you're right. And I feel like Propaganda's message has always been like, hey, fuck the man, because they'll fuck you first.
So what era is Propaganda? I'm not familiar with
90s skate punk.
Okay.
Right around NoFX. Their first album was on Fat Mike's label, Fat Records.
Yeah.
So they had some pretty cool stuff that I think people need to hear.
So I think that covers the 5, and then you've got 5 more choices where you can throw in the jazz or whatever else.
Miles Davis's Bitches Brew is a really good album. Aphex Twin's Drux album is one of my favorites. I think Aphex Twin belongs in my top 5. In
Okay.
top 5.
Okay.
Forget Tool and Rage. Let's do Aphex Twin. This guy's modern Beethoven. His production methods are all over the wall. When you put on headphones and you hear what he's doing, you're like, wow, haunting melodies, making these machines make sounds that they're not supposed to do, really understanding programming and how to assault these senses to an almost synesthesia type thing where you can almost taste the colors with their sound.
Interesting. That's
really,
kind of my experience with one of my favorite bands, Legendary Pink Dots.
We've briefly talked about that, and I need to get into them.
Similar as far as studio wizardry and how they just come up with this witch's brew that sort of assaults the senses but in some ways you don't even know that it's happening. It just does, and yeah, it's
I listened to the Soft Machine album, the
Oh,
first
that's
Soft
a
Machine album,
great-
all the time.
yeah.
I don't know what it.
I just picked that up on CD actually not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
It's one of those ones
The
where
green cover with the weird
with the wheel thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a few different covers for censorship reasons, kind of similar to the Blind Faith album. But that album I can throw on again and again when I'm in the certain state of mind, and people are like, "Oh, there goes Damian listening to the Soft Machine album again."
Nice.
And I think that's a really wacky one. Not as great as Zappa's Freak Out, but right up there with it.
Yeah.
Mahavishnu's what is the Intermounting Flame is one of my favorites. These albums just, I think, push the boundaries of music entirely to different realms. You know, Hendrix was great and stuff, but once Hendrix passed away, no one really bothered to look at John McLaughlin and hear his playing. Zappa had some choice words about it, and he's really good at what he does, but I think Zappa was kind of a jerk to a lot of good musicians.
Probably secretly jealous.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the guy was a force to be reckoned with himself, but yeah, that tends to happen with very strong, I will say, ego-driven types. He's definitely had a very strong ego in things, but I should check out more of the Mahavishnu Orchestra. I have before, just not with any regularity, but yeah, they definitely blew my mind when I heard them the few times that I did.
I've got a lot of their albums, and strangely, I always just go back to Intermounting Flame.
Okay.
I really like that one. It's very simple. Yeah, I can't talk enough about Intermounting Flame. My dad handed that to me once and was like, "Hey, if you want to learn how to play the guitar, this is the album."
Nice.
And shortly after
Wow.
that, he gave me Jeff Beck's Blow by Blow.
Yep, that was
That's
one of my
good.
early ones too.
I like that one. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites, but I really, really like it.
Yep. Same.
Hip hop wise, Mos Def, you know, he's always been somebody I appreciate. Mos Def and Black Star.
Interesting.
His message has resounded and very positive influence, I think, on people. I don't tend to like negative influence. Not to say that I don't listen to gangster rap or anything like that, but I'd rather hear uplifting things in my themes, or instrumental, so that I don't have to think about whatever it is they're trying to get me to think about with their words. And so if the words are good, then the music's pretty good. I had someone defending Suicide Boys the other day, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but you're gonna use an 808 cowbell in all your songs, man. You need a new gimmick, especially if it's gonna be misogynistic and anti-women and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
okay, cool,
there's a lot of bands throughout the whole history of rock that kind of donned that whole thing, like the Mentors, and it's like, I guess you can kind of smirk at it, in a dark humor, in the moment kind of way, but as far as really marinating on bands and albums, yeah, I would say I avoid that kind of thing too. It's at the end of the day, yeah, you want to feel like you've gained something positive out of listening to whatever it is you're listening to, and
yeah, there's a lot to be said about mischievous bands or joke bands and things, and I've listened to a lot, but when they start creeping into fascist politics and just kind of being a edgelord, then it's kind of, it pushes me away quite a bit.
Yeah, oh yeah, I totally hear that. Well, I think we probably got
more than
10 in there, so leave it to Damian to
break the rule.
Yeah, put in about
I'll give you
15 to
20.
20, yes. I could talk about bands all day, so I totally get it. With that, let's move into back to the musician side of you. Damian actually does something really cool now. He builds boutique guitar pedals and has his own brand. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, yeah. It stems from the DJ thing, actually. You know, and following in the footsteps of King Tubby. If I'm gonna call myself a DJ, a producer, sound system guy, then I have to learn to build and maintain my own equipment. And from there, I got bored and decided to make my own DJ siren. I think it was the first one. It was a little 555 timer siren. So when you hear the little whip, 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 and all those sounds that the reggae guys do, hip hop artists, little police siren effects and whoops and squeals and squelches, I made one of those and it was cool. And I was like, oh, put it aside, did that, got that out of the way. Moved on to a digital delay that was for guitars, and I heavily modded that, and I've still been modding it. In fact, I got to work on that today. And that's got a little tap tempo delay, so I can sit there and chop infinitely and do the reggae panning and these weird little ping pong delay effects. And that was cool. From there, I said, well, why not move to guitar pedals? Make your own distortion. Why do you have to use the Boss Metal Zone? So I made a Mesa dual rectifier gain stage from a PCB. It worked. I said, okay, cool. Set that on the shelf. 2 years later, you go, let's try some more. Let's do a fuzz. Let's do a compressor. And you buy these little kits. You put them together like it's painting by numbers. You take your time. You solder. You make sure your air is ventilated, which I don't do a good enough job of, I've realized. Hopefully not getting lead poisoning from all this. But then one day I decided to take some of those spare parts, because it had been years, and I said, let's just build something. Let's build a fuzz. And this is one of the trial ones. I usually have decals on these now. But
See that.
this is a fuzz face I've got that's just one of my tester pedals. It's got a BC108C inside and a GT404 Russian transistor. These are basically a Dallas Arbiter fuzz face that Hendrix used.
Nice.
Roger Mayer, his guitar tech, started modding the germanium transistors as silicone transistors came into production. They became more stable. So Hendrix's tone over the years, he would keep the best fuzz pedals in the studio, take the second best out on tour with him, because if you lost it, you know, it's kind of hard to get a new one all of a sudden. And so you fast forward a few years later to Stevie Ray Vaughan, who loved Hendrix. Hendrix's tone, he's trying to get the same fuzz. Cesar Diaz modifies Stevie's Dallas Arbiter fuzz face, and that ended up becoming the first Cesar Diaz square face. That square face is what Texas blues guys are looking for. They like this glassy tone, they call it, when you pull the guitar's volume knob back a little. And it gives a very particular sound because it's using both silicon and germanium transistors inside. He did a few more mods, like adding this, he did an internal trim pot inside. I didn't like that idea, so I brought it to the outside, because people switch their guitars on stage and the pickups will be different. You don't have time to open up the back, get a screwdriver and fiddle with it, so yeah, you do it on the external. This same mod was done to, well, I believe, done to Zoot Horn Rollo from Captain Beefheart's fuzz face. His was called the Pie Face, because he just slapped a pie sticker on it. Some of the other ones I have, I've done a compressor, which these, once again, I've got decals on them now. These are all the old tester ones, so I don't chip up the paint. But this is the Dan Armstrong Orange Squeezer, famously heard on Dire Straits songs and Doobie Brothers albums.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
So Sultans of Swing?
Sultans of Swing, Money for Nothing.
Money for Nothing, yeah. That.
Oh man, I mean, I think
I've
he has
always loved that riff.
wah or a distortion on with it,
Okay.
but it's got this. Like, if you turn this onto your clean channel, usually your clean channel is unusable and kind of weak.
Yeah.
This thing kind of chimes it up, makes it usable. Subtle chorus kind of effect. But
Interesting.
in conjunction with your overdrive, man, this thing will really make it pop.
Wow.
More interestingly, I finished this one last night. I've been doing a few of these. This one is a Rangemaster. Now, the Rangemaster used to have just one knob and not the selector. The selector is a modification where you add extra input capacitors. And what you do is when you flip the switch, you can change how much bass is getting through the pedal. And it's a
Really?
fascinating little boost. A germanium transistor inside this one. I'll do cheaper ones with silicon for two reasons. Now, this pedal used to just sit on your amp. It didn't even have a foot switch. You just turned it on and had a knob, on/off switch, and a boost knob. So adding a foot switch is a mod for this pedal. Adding this capacitor selector is a mod for this pedal. And inside, who used this? Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath famously used this on his first two albums. Eventually, they lost it. The guitar tech just threw it away because he didn't think it was worth anything. And the same story happens to Brian May from Queen. The first two albums were germanium Rangemaster on the first two Queen albums. After that, they had
I gotta borrow this pedal.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. It doesn't sound like it does much, but when you click it on, you notice the difference.
Brian May is in my top 3 all-time favorite guitar players.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hands down.
It's neat knowing that fact now, because when I hear Queen now, I go, oh, I hear it. And it allows you to really cut through the mix. So this is also great with fuzzes. And I'm actually building both of these in one unit. I just need to perfect it and get it out there. And so you'll have a fuzz and a treble boost to cut through for your solos. Brian May eventually went to silicon transistors after germanium. So Queen 3 through however long he played ended up becoming silicon, which once again I'll sell for a little cheaper than germanium because they're harder to find now. But either way, if you want the first two Sabbath tones, or first two Sabbath album tones, or the first two Queen album tones, this is 100% what you're looking for.
Wow.
So that's a fascinating one.
Now, did you say that works in tandem? That's supposed to work in tandem with an overdrive?
You can just put it on your clean, and it makes your clean channel usable.
Really?
So doing just these two, like I said,
okay,
a compressor and a treble boost,
yeah,
it'll make that clean channel sound a bit overdriven, a little bite to it.
So you honestly probably don't need an overdrive unless you're really trying to dirty it up.
I mean, for if you're looking for Sabbath and Queen's ripping leads, yeah, you're gonna need probably some kind of fuzz.
Yeah.
In conjunction, these three, you could probably end up getting what you need out of the first two albums. I don't know what they use for compressors or if they did, but
interesting. So what is now this is your specific brand. What's the name of your brand?
Oh, Ritual Sound. I'm terrible at picking names, but that one eventually landed on it, and it kind of popped out. And I feel when you're tranced out playing music, you're doing a ritual, and
absolutely.
You should definitely put some magic into your sound.
And where can people order your pedals?
Well, most people have been coming up here and grabbing a beer during a show, and I'll just bring one up here with me if they're interested. Bring a couple of them. So, Hand to Hand has been the winner. I've sold 2 on Reverb. If you get on Reverb and message me, I'll bring the price down if you see this video and stuff and you know us. Those are my fishing prices on there because somebody out there will buy it.
Gotcha.
So
Reverb, but mostly, if you're local, come talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, come here to CottonFlat Records. We'll start keeping some up here as well.
Come up here in person, or you can message them through the CottonFlat Facebook page. Or I guess they could probably find you on
Damian Roberts
social media.
You can see him on Facebook Marketplace here and there, and certain groups, little Dallas pedal builder groups and things like that.
Do you plan on getting into doing custom builds?
Yeah, I've already been doing custom builds. Somebody wanted a big muff the other day, but they didn't want any big muff. They wanted a particular big muff, the Green Russian. So yeah, let me look it up. Looked up the specs, got the parts, built the build, cloned the case as best as I could, stenciling it out and stuff. I got another guy who wants a base version of that, which should be an easy mod. Somebody asked for a Klon Centaur the other day with a pinup. I do a pinup design too for a graphic. So whatever color you want, I can end up doing. There's plenty of availability of parts, and I can put it together.
Sweet. Well, I think we're coming to the end here of our first spotlight at CottonFlat. And is there anything else, Damian, you'd like to share with our audience here?
Yeah. Come out and join our community. Come become a presence here. We like to get, whether you're interested in comedy or metal or singer-songwriter stuff, we want everybody in the same room. We want everybody to prosper and profit off their endeavors. And the more healthy of a community we build here, the better it is for everyone. So come on out and put your differences aside.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Damian.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being our first Spotlight feature. And Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for sticking around for this video.
Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us for episode 1 of CottonFlat Spotlight.